Gordon L. Starr, Director of Student Unions and Assistant Professor at the University of Minnesota, gives the introduction to this film, which was written and produced under the auspices of the Board of Governors of Minnesota's Kaufman Memorial Union.
The space age has brought a greater emphasis upon higher education than at any previous time in history. On college and university campuses throughout the United States, new buildings are going up and educational facilities are being generally expanded to take care of the increased educational needs of the future. Among the buildings already standing or under construction are student unions, which in each case serve as campus community centers for educational, social, cultural, and recreational activities. Almost every institution of higher learning in the nation includes in its physical plant a building with an organization which includes the program and services of a typical college union. The seeds of the present-day college union date back to the early 19th century, when the Prince of Wales, an alumnus, donated 100 pounds for the furnishing of the Attic Society, a debating club and forerunner of the college union at Oxford University in England. Today, the college union movement encompasses not only the colleges and universities of the United States and England, but in many other parts of the world as well. As the living room or hearthstone of the campus, the college union provides for facilities and activities which students and faculty need in their daily lives. It gives them an opportunity to get to know one another through informal associations outside of the classroom. A primary aim of the college union is to help a student develop a high sense of values with respect to the use of his time. This helps to enrich his life both while on campus and in later years. The University of Minnesota got its first union in 1908 when a men's union was established in part of an old chemistry building which is now known as Nicholson Hall. 32 years later, a coeducational building, Kaufman Memorial Union, designed to serve students, faculty, and alumni of the University of Minnesota, was completed on the Minneapolis campus. Today, this building is a principal unit of a three-branch department of student unions. This department operates other buildings for the same purpose, including a student center on the St. Paul campus and a smaller union at University Village, a married student housing area. The setting for this motion picture is Kaufman Memorial Union. The cast includes typical students of the University of Minnesota. The story takes you to the heart of one of the nation's finest university unions and allows you to share in some of the important decisions of typical students. For it is the you in the union with which this film is concerned.
Well, this is it. It's all over. Our last dance as students. Pretty soon we'll be university alums, good old Minnesota Gophers, from the class of yesteryear. Old Lang Syne, they really played it this time, for keeps.
4 wonderful years and 1,000 dances. Goodbye, dear Union. Goodbye, U-Bog. Don't forget us. We'll be back another day.
We're proud that we could share the many pleasures there. Maroon and gold the colors to wear.
year in September, hundreds of new students, freshmen, arrive at the University of Minnesota to start their adult lives and their college educations. Young men and women, away from home, some of them for the first time, leaving high school friends many miles and many memories behind. Suddenly all the world, a whole new world, is right here, ready to meet them. And they're ready too, eager to make new friends, ready and eager to take up the tireless pursuit of knowledge. With time out for recreation, of course. University life means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It may even mean different things at different times for the same student. Some students immerse themselves completely in their studies, while others always seem to have schedule problems. There never seems to be any time to study until just before the examination. And still others, happily most university students, mix their studies with their recreation in a well-balanced combination leading to a well-rounded education. Well, this is the story of your union, of you, a story told 100,000 times. It's the story of this perfect combination. It's the story all about the you in the union. Most students spend about 15 hours each week in actual classwork. A well-disciplined student will spend about another 30 hours studying on his own. Where he does his studying and what he does with the rest of his time is not entirely left up to him. But he's expected to learn to make use of his life to its fullest. To help round out his formal education, to help develop a healthy mind and body, there is a wide range of recreational and cultural activities. Much of the responsibility for such a program lies with your student union, which is more than up to the task. There's professional training. Here's Johnny, a radio announcer in the Union Broadcasting Station. And this is Frank, a journalist in the Union Advertising Agency. And Paul learns the diplomacy of administrative work as he presides at a policy meeting of the Union Governing Board, UBOG, the Union Board of Governors. Oh yes, you run the union, with the help of the Union Director, who, with his professional staff, provides the firm and guiding hands which make complex affairs workable and smoothly running for more than 350 student volunteer workers on union committees. So essentially, those who use the union run it, govern it. Yes, this is your union. This is you, self-sustaining, responsible, prone to making mistakes, happy in your successes, the success of creative work. From its inception to its fulfillment. Ready to enjoy the fruits of good planning and hard work in moments of happy relaxation. Yes, this is the happiness of growing at the University of Minnesota. There's a lot of work, and it's a long road to graduation. But there's no substitute, no reward worth more in the end. Once upon a time, Hal and Sandy were two newcomers to the university. Neither of them started out as typical freshmen or typical students or really average anything. They were just two people. Hal from a small Minnesota town, Sandy from the Twin Cities, a commuter. Both faced a whole new life, a huge city within a city, a university town in itself. They began their life at the university at the Union. It was Welcome Week, activities and orientation designed to help students get used to the campus before classes begin in the fall. Hal and Sandy participated in the same discussion group, where all types of questions and problems are faced and answered. They attended the same dinner. They even went to the same first dance of their college life. And yet they were worlds apart. Sandy's idea of college was that it should be all fun, no being lonely for her. Sandy was going to do just enough schoolwork to stay in school. She was a good mixer, and she was successful in her social climb. On the other hand, Hal also felt the strangeness of his new university surroundings. But he reacted in another way. Too overwhelming for him. There were so many people, so many things to do. By the time the Welcome Week dance was underway, Hal had made up his mind. He just couldn't fight it. But Hal did more than just leave the dance. He resigned from almost all social activities. Nothing extracurricular for Hal, unless it had something to do with his studies. It was going to be all work. Education was here for the taking. It was all before him, in books and in classes, and inside professors' heads. After all, this was why he was at the university. Wasn't this what he had always worked for? He wasn't going to waste time. And so Hal and Sandy were well on their separate ways, both about as far from recognizing each other as they were from recognizing that the university had much more to offer than either of them dreamed of. There they were, just 2 of 60,000 students who use the Union every week. Of course, we have to count Sandy 30 or 40 times. She was a busy girl. During the fall and winter quarters, Sandy wheeled and dealed in half a dozen different activities. Where others, more sensible, were active mainly in 1 or 2, she joined the rovers and biked and hiked. As a charm girl, she modeled the latest fashions. Sandy was not only in the spotlight, she was a bright light all by herself. Her leftover energies went into working on the Foreign Students Committee. Then, just before Christmas vacation, Sandy squeezed in some quick cram work and just passed her courses. But by spring, she was in trouble. Her grades sank, then sank again. was asked to give up her activities. The big whirling world around her was suddenly quiet and strange. For the first time since her arrival at the university, her private thoughts crept out. The weather was warm, and it was time for some quiet thinking.
Sandy Carmichael, who are you? Why are you here? Are you really living or just living it up? Where are you running to? Are you growing up, Sandy? Or are you still a little girl, the center of attention at a birthday party?
In the meantime, Hal's life had run a different course. The fall quarter had been an academic pushover. He wrote proudly of his straight A's, for Hal had smothered himself in his studies. He'd lost himself in his books, and it had paid off in grades. While other freshmen had been adjusting to their new life, Hal had made few changes. Not that he had no problems, Hal just never faced them. By the middle of the winter quarter, Hal was like an overtrained fighter. He'd turned stale. Union forums and union coffee hours were very, very dull. The Union bookstore seemed to have no more interesting books. And he had no friends to turn to talk about studies, talk about problems, or talk about anything. Hal was alone, and when you're alone, those quiet study rooms are intolerable. The Hal O'Brien machine ran down and almost stopped. On the Union patio, alone in the spring rain, Hal thought and wondered.
What's the matter, Hal? Isn't it all in the books after all? Why can't you drive yourself forever without wearing out? Is the world outside those books so very, very bad? Hal, are you growing up?
Suddenly it was spring quarter and the Union open house. Laughter played in the sunshine. Everybody was happy and life was wonderful, except for poor Sandy. She watched and wondered, could she ever enjoy life again? And then, strangely enough, university life for both Hal and Sandy began all over again. Two people met, just as thousands do, except this time the professional guiding hands pushed a wee bit harder. the missing pieces in the puzzle of growing up began to move into place. Sandy learned that an hour in thought or with a book wasn't a waste of time. Hal discovered photography, and Sandy made a beautiful subject. Hal found that relaxation and recreation were as much a part of his education as were his books. Together, they started on the road to education, to happiness. Together, they attended the Creative Arts Festival, the year's most elaborate cultural menu brought together under the auspices of the Student Union. It was a fabulous combination of all the university talents and professional, cultural, and entertainment personalities. From a spectacular ice show to a day of modern dance. From the art craft fair to the art exhibits. And the international exhibits. And finally, the climax to the two-week festival, the Union's Beaux Arts Ball. The Union doesn't start or stop with the coming and passing of people or events. It's a continuous part of the University of Minnesota's heritage. That responsibility of providing for the young men and women of Minnesota, of the United States, of the world, an outlet for their talents, a program for them especially designed to meet their educational, recreational, and cultural needs. A helping hand in time of need. A boost when spirits are low. A handshake for things well done. A goodbye. Come back and visit us in the years to come. This is the forever story of you and your University of Minnesota Kaufman Memorial Union.